Howdy friends, welcome to another devlog for my 2D action horror game, Field Day. Field Day is a relaxing farm sim that offers players the chance to grow their own... Wait, that's not right. Where's my copy? A tense survival action horror game that borrows heavily from other titles in the genre such as Resident Evil and Dead Space. Players will have their own choice of upgrades, weapons, and tactics for dispatching monsters and collecting their materials in order to craft new items and progress the story. It's sort of like Monster Hunter, but the monsters come straight out of a David Cronenberg movie. I've been making a lot of changes recently and don't have much to show for this devlog, unfortunately, at least in terms of gameplay. The scope of this project has gotten a little out of hand, so I decided to take a step back and really flesh out certain key components of the game before going further. Because this game uses 2D pixel art for its sprites and animations, this means spending a lot of time in A-sprites, so that's mostly what I'll be showing off in this devlog. Basically, expect a lot of sped up footage set to lo-fi hip-hop, which is basically what you're already used to if you've been following the channel up until now. The main area that I wanted to focus on was the player. Up until this point, I've been using the same generic NPC sprite that I made for a different game. So his animations are basically geared towards walking, running, and not much else. A character idea that I've had in mind for a while now has been this murder hobo with a tragic backstory who finds himself hunting monsters in the hopes of redeeming himself for his past mistakes, while also earning some much needed cash. I haven't thought of a name for this character yet, but I want it to be something esoteric with a vaguely European etymology. For right now, I'm thinking Iggy. It's short for Ignatius, but I'm sure I just butchered the pronunciation of that name, so for the time being, I'm just gonna call him Iggy. His design draws heavily from three main influences. The first is Vincent Law. My favorite anime series is Ergo Proxy, and he's probably my favorite character, not just in that show, but maybe of all time. I just love the idea of this aloof but well-meaning immigrant having such a huge role in a series like that. But I won't spoil the show if you haven't seen it. I do highly recommend that you check it out though if you ever have the time. It is heady, like almost to a fault, but it does have some fun moments here and there. The second influence is Afro Samurai. The design of that character is so clean while still flowing with these subtle details like the swaying of his hair, hence why every time Iggy moves you'll see his fro bounce up and down. I just thought that would be a nice little touch to add some fluidity to his animations. The final influence comes from a game that I still haven't played yet, but it is sitting in my Steam library, along with dozens of other games I've yet to pick up. That game is Death Stranding, and I think Yoji Shinjikawa knocked it out of the park when it came to the character design. I wanted Iggy's design to look working class while still featuring subtle hints of futurism, but I felt that the boldness and the dissonance of Sam's color palette combined with the hidden motility behind Sam's layered jumpsuit was much less difficult to translate to 2D while still illustrating that same core idea. This is a janitor in the future fighting monsters. His suit should look cool, minimal, and above all, functional. But yeah, dude's not done. So far he only has 4 animations and 2 of those are just alternate versions of the other 2. Taking from Resident Evil, I think that having different animations played depending on how much health you have allows the player to really connect with the main character and what they're going through. Something else that I've been working on are new weapons. The old weapons were also taken from a different game I worked on, which was supposed to take place in a more medieval setting with a focus on roleplay aspects, and that's why they seemed so out of place. These new weapons actually fit the environment and tone, and I think they add a lot to the neopunk aesthetic that I'm trying to achieve. If you're not sure what neopunk is, that's cool. I just made it up. It's essentially a blend between contemporary technological advancements and cyberpunk. Not quite 2077, more like 2037. Think Watch Dogs or The Division if they took place like 10 years later. These new weapons also borrow from a lot of different sources like Alien Isolation, Dead Space, Halo, Cyberpunk 2077, and I'm sure others. It's actually kind of hard to name them all since I'm honestly not sure. Now, you wouldn't think that this would be the case, but it's been pretty difficult trying to find reference art for unique and interesting sci-fi melee weapons. I get the feeling that most of the art that's out there is geared towards making a katana that's also a lightsaber, or an M16 that shoots lasers. Now, those are both really cool, they're just not what I have in mind. Now, the last thing that I want to cover is the main menu, which I'm sure will go through quite a few iterations before I'm happy with the look and feel. For now though, it works, which is the main thing I wanted to get out of the way. I do not consider myself an expert when it comes to Unity's UI framework by any stretch of the imagination, and between all of this sprite work, I've kind of gotten burnt out when it comes to making new UI elements and pixel art. Now that it's working, however, I am looking forward to tackling my next big endeavor, making a tutorial stage. One that will hopefully teach the player about the core game mechanics without boring them to tears or filtering out more casual players. In the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. I hope that your day has been going well and that you all have fun. Bye.